It is so funny to me how some of my clients become the teacher at some point. Normally, I think of them sort of as the student or the mentee, but every now and then we'll reverse roles, and my clients are able to demonstrate and show me how much they've learned and are applying because they'll make a comment to me, and I'll think, that's it. That's exactly the point of all this. You put it better than I could say it myself. And last week, I had a client that said to me exactly these words. She said, "You can convince yourself of anything," as it turns out. And I really smiled at that because we had been in former sessions talking about two concepts. First, self-fulfilling prophecies, and second, the law of attraction. And I couldn't think of a better way to say it than how she said it. You can convince yourself of anything. You can make anything true. I have written, I think in my second book, and I'm almost done writing my second book, so this is very exciting, but I have recently written that your brain will not make a liar out of you. And so if you believe something and you believe it fully, you are going to look for evidence to prove it to be true for yourself. And so that's kind of a dangerous thing. It can be very helpful for you, but it can also sabotage you if you're not thinking the right kinds of thoughts. In previous weeks with this client, the one that said you can convince yourself of anything, I had been talking with her about two concepts, the law of attraction and self-fulfilling prophecies. And these both have Wikipedia definitions and lots of videos and press all over the internet on them. But I'll share with you that for me, I like my former boss's version of the law of attraction the best. Donnie Peaks, who, and I wrote about this in my first book, Virtues, it's actually has shown up again in my second book. So thank you, Donnie, for saying it this way. But what Donnie always used to say to me was, what you think about grows. Very simple way of saying it. And really what Donnie is saying is, if you think about positive things, you're going to get more positive. If you think about negative things, you're going to tend to get and create for yourself more negative things. Self-fulfilling prophecies, best way I can think of to describe that, and I know there's some debate over who really said this first. I always think of it as Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you're right. And so when my client said, you can convince yourself of anything, what she was really trying to say is, if you think that you're going to get a promotion, be successful in your career, lose weight, get into shape, finish some goal you have, in my case, becoming a skier, writing a book, buying a house, these have all been goals of mine over the last few years, having a successful marriage or relationship, keeping in touch with really great friends. If you say to yourself, I'm going to do those things, I can do those things, I have the power and the control to do those things, you are going to prove yourself right. You will convince yourself that that's right. And anytime someone starts off with a vision statement or a plan to make something like those things happen, what I notice or observe is that they always do it. They have always found a way to make those things come alive. Almost everyone I know that has written a vision statement or has created a vision board tells me the same experience and the same story. They say, Amy, a year later, I looked at it and everything or almost everything that I put on that thing came true. It all came true. And that's because you can convince yourself of anything. And if you decide these things are going to happen, this is going to take place, you will figure it out. You will convince yourself that that's what's going to happen. And then your body and your brain and your emotions and your whole heart and system will begin to cooperate with you. It's very funny and interesting, but yet very true and universal thing. The reverse is true as well. You can convince yourself of negative things as well. So if you say, I've gotten ill, I've been diagnosed with cancer, this thing is going to win, it's going to beat me, woe is me, I'm a victim, you'll probably struggle with that disease more than the people that say, I'm going to fight this and I'm going to win, and that is what's going to happen. There are so many stories and research around how when you get sick, really very seriously sick, you can change your outcome. Huge correlation with people being positive, believing that they're going to be able to see it through, that they're going to recover, and them actually being able to do that. If you don't believe you can get a promotion or have a successful marriage or relationship, if you don't think it's going to be possible for you to earn enough money to have a successful, happy life, if you don't think that you can stay in shape past a certain age, you're not going to. You are going to look for ways that it was difficult and it was too hard and the deck was stacked against you. We probably both, everyone that's listening to this video probably knows someone that talks in both of these ways. Someone that is endlessly optimistic and positive and someone that is pretty cynical and negative. And if you look at their lives and what's happening to them and for them in their lives, you start to see a correlation in how we think and how we feel and what we talk about and what we bring into our world. And that is because there's evidence for the law of attraction. There's evidence for self-fulfilling prophecies. These things exist and are talked about because they really are real things. So I really like how my client put this. You can convince yourself of anything. My big ask of you today and this week is, what are you convincing yourself of? Are you convincing yourself that you can, that you're courageous and strong and brave enough to do things, that you're going to achieve those goals you've set for yourself, that life is good, that there's plenty of opportunity left for you, that there's a piece of the pie for everyone? Or are you operating from more of a scarcity mindset? Woe is me, bad things always happen to me, life is not good, I always get the short end of the stick. What are you convincing yourself of? Because again, you will convince yourself of anything. So what I would ask all of you to do this week is say, am I convincing myself of things I want to be convincing myself of? If I consciously give it thought and slow it down and actually reflect and think about it, are these the things that I want to convince myself of? If they're not, understand that you can make a shift. You can change how you think, you can change how you feel, you can cultivate new things to convince yourself of. Not quite overnight, there's more to it than that. You can start and make a decision overnight to start. The work that you'll have to do every day and every month to actually help that come to life is greater than that. This is the kind of work I help people with. There's lots of other coaches out there that help people with this kind of work. I wouldn't go it alone. But if you want to start at least down the path, you can do so today. And I strongly encourage you to make sure you're convincing yourself of the things you want to be and that you're going to be proud of later. With